Well, we are back in the building and the barbershop is back rolling. Good morning to everybody. Wake yourself up, get your coffee, because we got a lot to talk about right here on the most electrifying show in all of Cleveland on the internet now. It's called The Barbershop. We're going to talk about Myles Garrett. We're going to talk about Shadeur Sanders. We're going to get into the big trade. The Cleveland Cavaliers making moves. Ben Simmons, DeAndre Hunter. We're doing it all right here on this episode, the inaugural episode of The Barbershop.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the Barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The Barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the Barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
Welcome on in, wherever you're at. If you're streaming on Twitter, if you're streaming on YouTube, if you're streaming on Facebook's UCSS, welcome on in. Barbershop gang, welcome on in. This is the inaugural episode of the Barbershop. If you listen to me on the radio for years, thank you for switching over to the digital format. We got a great show planned for you as always, and we're going to get into a lot of things. But first, I want to give you some background and give you some things so you guys can chew on. A lot of people said, G. Bush, I love the Barbershop, love it to death. Why are you doing a barbershop online now? What's going on? Why ain't you on the radio? And I've always been a big proponent since day one. I've always told people, always invest in yourself, always invest in what you want to do. And the new climate of where everything going is now everything is digital. You know, I was at 92.3 The Fan, still currently working there. I'm still doing shows over there. I'm filling in here or there. But here's the thing. When you talk about what it is that I've always tried to do in the barbershop, I've always tried to be cutting edge. I've always tried to keep it real. And to tell you guys, we need to have some growth and elevation in what we wanted to do. And so it gives me an opportunity. I love talking in the sports talk format. I love taking my time. On some of my other formats, you know, I can't really get into a long form conversation with people and go back and forth because on UCSS, you got to talk in 3 minutes. You got to talk in 4 minutes. If I'm doing Ultimate Browns, I got to do that. That show is 30 minutes tops. When I'm doing when I'm on the Bleacher Report, that show's 20 minutes. So what I love the most about doing long form content on the Barbershop is the fact that I get to go back and forth with you guys. You guys get to be a vocal part of what we're doing over here, and we continue to run it up. That's what we want to do. So elevation is huge for me. And, you know, there's no bad blood between me and 92 Through the Fan. Shout out to those guys over there. Shout out to Keith and everybody over there. But this is just an opportunity for me to branch out and do my own thing and to really, you know, have ownership in what I want to do. So I want to thank everybody for coming over here. I don't want to take too much of your time. I want to get into the topics because we got a lot to talk about here on the Barbershop. First and foremost, let's get to the rundown for today. The Cleveland Cavaliers. We're not going to start with them first, but I'm going to tell you the Cleveland Cavaliers is well on their way. They got some exciting things going. DeAndre Hunter, and let me tell you this: Kobe Altman. This man, Kobe Altman. I was on his backside. Pause. I was on him tough last year with JB Bickerstaff, and I must say, he had a quick turnaround. He had a turnaround that I ain't seen in a minute. You're going to hear some comment from Sports for CLE. That will be on. I was on that show talking about the Cavs. Also, you'll hear from Jason Lloyd. He'll be talking about in a few of these clips as well, so we'll talk about that. Also, Shadeur Sanders. Coach Prime was talking about Shadeur Sanders. Another clip for Sports for CLE. I was on that show talking about Coach Prime saying that Shadeur Sanders right now is the most quarterback ready to play right now doing his thing. So we'll get to that. We'll definitely take your quotes on this. And we want to set this up as well. If you do want to, I'll have 4 super chat segments. So basically you can super chat or you can opine. We love comments. We'll get to as many as we can, but we'll have 4 super chat questions throughout the 2-hour show. And we'll give those to you so you could opine on certain of the segments that we got going up. So you'll see those. I'll announce those. You can text, you can tweet, you can do everything, and it'll come right on the board. We'll put those questions up already, as you can see. And to give you an example, Hey, my man right here, stop yapping about yourself and get to the Myles Garrett drama. If you don't know, this is how it gets over here. This ain't for everybody. It get real ugly in this situation. So let's get to it. With that being said, let's start off with Myles Garrett. We're going to start off with a clip right here from Tyvis Powell on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Tyvis talks about the Myles Garrett situation, and we're going to get to some details that G. Bush been talking about for a long time, and we're going to break it all down right here on the Barbershop.
Yes. But his job right now is, how am I going to get us out of this? You know, like, I did this, so I got to get us out of this. I think that's kind of how you're looking at it. And I know that all of this came after Myles said he was going to meet with the higher-ups to see the game plan, and then he'll go from there. And obviously him requesting a trade means that the game plan just wasn't appealing to him. And it was funny because after the season was over, after hearing him talk, I kept telling everybody, I was like, I think he is going to request a trade. I don't think he's going to stay, because when you sit there and you throw out all these scenarios about, we're going to go get this quarterback or we're going to draft this guy, it doesn't, when you look at where the Browns were, because it's not like they were just like close and lost by some field goals and stuff. Like, it was bad. Like, this thing was bad.
And that was courtesy of Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. So what I wanted to do is show that right there is that this Myles Garrett thing, and I want to break this down for everybody that's listening so we can do this one last time. If you've heard me on those other platforms, great. I'm going to go over the whole thing again. The Myles Garrett saga is not something that just happened yesterday. As a matter of fact, this has been going on for 2 to 3 years. About 3 years ago, I was DM'd by somebody in Myles Garrett's camp. And I will say about this person, this person is the highest level. This person is the highest level in his camp, right? I was also DM'd, and I was able to corroborate who this person was by somebody that was in Odell Beckham Jr.'s camp. Now, at the time, if you go back to 2 years where G. Bush is at, right? Man, I'm just a dude on the internet doing shows, bro. At the end of the day, it does me no good to come out and be like, I got all these sources, and guess what? I got the sources, bro. What am I gonna do with those? I mean, I can't say who it is, and I do opinion pieces. I don't break news, and I'm not Mary Kay Cabot or none of these dudes. I don't write papers for a living. So you just tuck it away and you say, okay, whatever. As I started to progress in my career, as I started to move up, and the DeMar Hamlin thing went crazy, all of a sudden, like, people, like NFL players, started reaching out, talking to me about what's going on in the locker room and different things like that. And so as I got to a point, Myles Garrett's people were reaching out to me and saying, like, hey, this is what's been going on. And we thinking about this, and we thinking about this a long time ago. And the quote that came up was, we're not going to let Myles Garrett be Joe Thomas. Now, I was kind of taken aback by that a little bit. I'm like, okay, what does that necessarily mean? I'm not going to let Myles Garrett be Joe Thomas. Well, that means exactly what it kind of sounds like. When I talked to Joe Thomas, and I've talked to him on many occasions, you've heard it here. I've asked Joe Thomas repeatedly. I said, Joe, would you take the gold jacket or would you take that Super Bowl ring? And Joe Thomas always says he would take the Super Bowl ring, because everybody plays for that title. Everybody plays to get to a situation where they can actually be a Super Bowl champion. That's what we play it for. And Joe Thomas always talks about the fact that he had an opportunity to go play with Peyton Manning and with the Denver Broncos. They ended up winning the Super Bowl. And Joe Thomas put the X on the trade. And so Myles Garrett is not just a regular guy. Like we a lot of this conversation that I've been having back and forth will be hear people, oh, well, he's not that good. No, he just asked for a trade. You kind of salty right now. He is that good. Oh, well, he went on this tour and he's telling people about, why he doesn't want to do this. And LeBron James has something to do with it. No. See, this is what I always get to you. See, this is the part where I got to tell the truth. Look, Myles Garrett was talking about this 2 years ago. And a lot of people out there burning Deshaun Watson's jersey, I'm sorry, has nothing to do with Deshaun Watson. Yes, it has something to do with Deshaun Watson in the part that Deshaun Watson didn't play well. And at the end, he wasn't dependable as a quarterback because he's always injured and he didn't play well this year. Yes, that plays a role in it because you got 3 wins. But this thing goes all the way back. This goes all the way back prior to the Cleveland Browns, prior to Kevin Stefanski. This starts way back then. He said, listen, you remember the helmet issue, right? Let's get to the helmet issue, because a lot of people are skimming over that. And this ain't my words. This is what they told me. Like, you believe it or not. They're like, listen, Myles Garrett did not like it at all from the organization's standpoint or from the standpoint with Baker Mayfield, that after he had the helmet issue with Mason Rudolph, he was salty about that. Because Baker Mayfield came out on national TV early and basically before he even talked to him as a teammate or a man, he said he was in the fault for that. It was a dirty move and he was going to get punished for it. He's probably going to get suspended. He was talking out of turn. Now, for all the Baker apologists out there, you got to realize something. Baker was always talking out of turn. Baker was walking out of press conferences. Baker was doing whatever he wanted. Let's be clear. Now he's throwing for 4,000 yards in Tampa. Everybody want to act like, oh my goodness, he was really a great citizen here. No, he was not. Now, does Myles Garrett have some faults too? Sure, he does. I've heard some other things about Myles Garrett in terms of is he gonna practice like that all the time? No. Is he worried about sacks a lot? Sure. Right? Like, he has different faults of his own too. But the situation with Baker Mayfield was, the Steelers handled it a certain way with Mason Rudolph. The Steelers said, we'll let the league handle it. We're not going to get out in front of this. We're not going to speak on it. And then we're going to let them do what it is. Myles Garrett and a lot of people in the Cleveland Browns organization, he felt he didn't come to his aid. He got suspended for, I believe it was 6 games. And on top of that, there was a lot of fans that was riding with the Mason Rudolph narrative. And Myles Garrett comes out and was like, well, he called me a name. He called me a racial slur. That muddied the waters, because then it was like, do I want to touch that? Now it's like, oh, like this is why I always say things, man. When I talk about sports, people say, why are you always talking about race? Well, listen, race kind of plays a factor in some of these things. And it's just what Myles Garrett said. He said that that's what Mason Rudolph did, and that's why he reacted the way he did. Some people said, I don't believe it. Some people took his word for it and said, yeah, we behind you. But in the end of the day, he did not like the fact that his quarterback and his teammate came out and said that. That was one. Number 2, this is a huge part of this story. Huge. They reached out after that happened. The whole Odell Beckham Jr. saga happened, right? I heard from both camps, both of them. Mind you, I'm just a little internet dude. Don't do me no good to break no stories at the end of the day. But you can, if you watch my content, if you look at my content and you've been in the barbershop, I've been alluding to this for long periods of time. If you watch my content, it ain't hard to see. Odell Beckham Jr., the tape, the infamous, his dad pointed out where he was supposed to be at. The infamous, my dad created this tape, actually just really retweeted the tape. He just retweeted it. The infamous tape comes out, and people in Cleveland go crazy. Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad is hating on the team. He's hating. They're going crazy. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, like the dude said his son was open. Like, and then I had to do the research. It's like, well, he just retweeted it. People was hot about that. Eventually, Odell Beckham Jr. gets released. Kevin Stefanski releases him. He goes on. He wins the Super Bowl. He plays well down the stretch. And he plays for the Rams, wins the Super Bowl, and he ends up tearing his ACL again in the Super Bowl, in the win. But that wasn't what Myles Garrett, according to his camp, is upset about. He was upset about the fact that during that season, during the next season, when you had Baker Mayfield was injured, and people were saying Baker should sit. Baker should sit down. Case Keenum came in, won a game. I believe it was the Cincinnati Bengals. And the next game on the schedule was the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people in the locker room, in the organization said, listen, we would like Baker Mayfield to sit. Listen, let him get healthy. Do whatever you need to do. Baker came back and said, I'm playing. That's just is what it is. And the Browns organization said, sure. Now, I don't know if that was a situation where they felt like they're going to give Baker an opportunity to play himself out of that extension, or was it a simple fact of they just wanted to see what he had because they don't know whether or not, or he gave them the best chance to win. For me, I think they were trying to give him an opportunity to play himself out of extension, which is crazy. And Myles Garrett and a lot of other people on that team resented the fact that season went downhill because Kevin Stefanski did not make a call as a coach should. The coach's job is looking out for the best interest of not only Baker Mayfield and his long-term success and long-term future as a quarterback, but not only that, he's supposed to be looking out for the well-being of the team. You paid Case Keenum $8 million. He was the largest, they gave guaranteed money to the backup, the most in the league. He won you a game against the Bengals, but yet you come back again with Baker, and people didn't like it. So then at the end of the season, Baker says, in his last season, I'm opting for surgery, and all hell broke loose. Everybody, they lost it. That was strike two. So for everybody that's here, when Myles Garrett asks for a trade, you think it ain't got to do with Deshaun Watson in today. But this stuff is going back 3-4 years ago. He's looking at these as strikes. He looks like, okay, you didn't really back me on the suspension. You got rid of Odell Beckham Jr. for nothing. You tried to act like he was a locker room cancer. And I heard from multiple people in the locker room that he was one of the best teammates that they had. So every time I would get on air and people would say, whether it's beat writers, whether it's people with a pen, and they would say, hey, he's a cancer to the locker room. I said, who told you that? Because I already had 5 or 6 dudes that said, that's not the case. And Odell Beckham don't do regular interviews. He don't do local interviews. So who you hear that from? I'm just telling you. I'm just giving you what I learned. So after that, Myles is he has piqued his interest. So he's looking around. He's like, okay, well, that was 2 strikes. 3rd strike. Now, mind you, the Browns had 6-7 strikes. He didn't like the fact that Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb weren't used correctly. There's an issue. Remember when Myles Garrett was running around talking about, hey, look, hey, man, we got to make some adjustments. Remember that? Remember we saw about them adjustments? Adjustments when it comes to Joe Woods. Adjustments when it comes to what are we running. He was been talking about that for years. Kareem Hunt didn't like the way he was being used here. You had a prime Kareem Hunt, a prime Nick Chubb, a top 5 offensive line, and you yet and still couldn't see him in the backfield at the same time. The same thing some of you are being very open and yelling about and screaming about and frustrated about. They were saying most of the same things you were. So then we get to a point, they do get over the hump. Baker does get them over the hump. They win a game against the Steelers. And there's this sense of okay, we finally made it. And listen, I fell for it too. I'm like, listen, they done moved the culture. They moved it along. Everything is looking great. Everything is moving at a great pace. Myles is good. We got a franchise quarterback. We got Chubb. We doing our thing. It looks like the Cleveland Browns are on the up and moving. But then what happens? You get situations in the front office where Myles Garrett feels he gets no help. You go look at the defensive tackles. Go look at the defensive tackles. The year that Joe Woods was there, I forget what year it was. I think it was the year they played the Falcons. In that game, the Falcons ran the ball. They had the guys like Rochelle up front, Tommy Togiai up front. We asked Andrew Berry, when are you going to get some defensive tackles? Are you going to get some linebackers? No, you did none of the above. And I coined the term, you punted on that season. I think it was the year Deshaun Watson that's where it came in. Sorry. Deshaun Watson's year, he got suspended for 11 games. There were a lot of people in the Browns organization, once Deshaun Watson got suspended for 11 games, they felt that the Cleveland Browns didn't do anything to bolster other areas of their team that could have made them competitive. Jacoby Brissett played pretty well, but they refused to go get receivers. They refused to have defensive tackles. They refused to add anybody in the middle. And we had the conversation, well, the Browns don't value defensive tackles and linebackers. And they were one of the worst defenses when it comes to stopping the run, and guys were running wild. That season was over before it started. Deshaun Watson came back. We talked about the 6 games that he had at the end of the year, and that's another lost year for Myles Garrett. So as you can see, we've already talked about 3 to 4 years where Myles Garrett is like, yo, we kind of like are not doing anything. Like we're just surface level. You go to last year, and for those that will say, G. Bush, but last year, they went to the play, not this last year where they was 3-14. The year before with Flacco, they went to the playoffs with 5 different quarterbacks. But let me explain that to you. Let me explain the way. Listen, again, I'm just holding the mirror up. Just a dude sitting here talking about what somebody told me. When you talk about that quarterback situation, and I didn't even think of it until I heard it this way. I never thought of it this way. He said, yeah, you went to the playoffs, and it was 11-5. But you went to the playoffs with a plan that was not sustainable. And I'm like, what does that mean necessarily? How many times can you go to the playoffs and you got 5 different quarterbacks and all those injuries? Not very often. You still didn't have no long-term answer. You still didn't have a long-term a game plan in order to get to you where you wanted to go. And then when you got there, you learned very quickly and early and often in a situation. And guess what? We lost to a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud. We lost to a rookie defensive end, Will Anderson. We lost to a rookie head coach in Ryans. They had a young team in with the Texans, and they done been to the playoffs 2 years in a row. And you got there, had one of the best defenses all year, and yet still you got smoked when it counted. That's even worse almost than not going to the playoffs, because it showed you what you was doing was fool's gold. That wasn't about nothing. You couldn't, look, trust me, I love Flacco and I love Jameis Winston and all them, but when it get down to the get down, like it's going to come Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow, it's Pat Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. If you ain't got one of them, skedaddle. So we found out early and often, as Myles Garrett is sitting there looking around, that was fool's gold. You still ain't got a quarterback. Nick Chubb coming off devastating injury. Your wide receiving core is old and slow. What are we looking at? So we get to this year. We'll wrap a bow on this and put this out. I'm going to throw a question out to you guys and get to some of your questions as well. I know we got a bunch of stuff to get to in the chat, and we'll continue to do that. Mind you, 9 to 11, every single Saturday. We got about a half hour to go. Coming up about 9:27. We're going to get to some of your comments, and we'll do some of the chat stuff. And then we'll pivot a little bit, talk a little more about the Browns, the trade packages, and different things like that. And then we'll get to the Cavs in the second hour. So 2 hours here. It's more of a radio format, so let's keep it moving and let's get to it. But I will say this. When you get to this year, the final straw was the Deshaun Watson situation. I'm not going to cap. I'm not going to be a person that's going to be up here lying to you. Like I said, I ain't got a lot to kick it. The Deshaun Watson situation was the final straw, because what Myles Garrett saw was, all right, we at 3-14. Deshaun Watson towards Achilles heel again. He's probably never playing again. Nick Chubb didn't look like Nick Chubb. Zadarius Smith, y'all traded him off for pieces and parts, and he got to go. Like, think about this. You, Myles Garrett, and you see Zadarius Smith, your boy that you better than, get to trot off and go play meaningful games for the Lions. You, Myles Garrett, one of the best defender. You see Amari Cooper get traded off and go play meaningful games with the Buffalo Bills. You, Myles Garrett, you see Kareem Hunt left for dead and end up in the Super Bowl playing for all of the marbles with the Kansas City Chiefs. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it was a Deshaun Watson thing, but it was also another thing. It was also other things that hit you right in the face. Dang, bro, I can't. everybody that's leaving here is going higher than me. Odell Beckham, I saw him leave. He got a ring. Everybody that they bring in, they keep leaving, that's going to make you look a little, it's going to make you feel a certain type way. And when you look at the Browns cap situation, when you look at the receivers, they got Jerry Jeudy. They got the number 2 overall pick. But when he went in and sat down with Myles Garrett, when he went down and posted up and chilled with Andrew Berry, he looked at him and said, okay, well, what we doing? And it hit him. It ain't nothing he can do. This was done 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was done then. Because even if you draft a quarterback, which I'm an advocate for, we'll get to that later on the show. Or if you trade down, say, all right, the Browns, if you feel like the Browns they should trade down because the quarterback is not there, and you're one of those guys who want to get the quarterback in 27 or 26. Okay. How you think Myles Garrett going to stick? He's 29 right now. You think he's going to wait around as you draft, I don't know, Mason Graham or Abdul Carter or whatever? He ain't got no time for that. He ain't got no time for that. And for those blaming LeBron James, and y'all need to, here's the thing. This gets me too. Some of y'all dudes need to just shut up. LeBron James left twice or whatever the case may be. He's the only thing you got. He's the only thing you got in these streets. Stop acting like you done had better. Like, quit acting like we watched the Browns be up here be terrible for years and years and years and years and years. Horrible. Terrible. And LeBron James came back. He gave you the best 4 or 5 years of basketball. He won it at a different level. He's the best player to ever put gym shoes on. And people include, he left, and now he's poisoning Myles. He's poisoning Myles Garrett now. Y'all need to stop taking things so personally. Because when people leave here, it ain't got nothing to do with you. Let's be clear. When Jim Tomey left, had nothing to do with you. When Manny Ramirez left, nothing to do with you. Hey, Kyrie Irving, nothing to do with you. Y'all got to stop internalizing that and understand and look and see what the heck is these organizations doing. Listen, the Cleveland Browns aren't no victim. They knew what they was doing. You fumbled the bag. When Stefanski and Barry got here, they had a top 5 line, Nick Chubb in his prime, Kareem Hunt in his prime, Odell, Jarvis, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, cap space, and picks. You had all of that. But now you're the victim because you fumbled the bag and you didn't draft nobody but Anthony Schwartz and Siaki Ika. I'm just saying. Jed Wills. Just saying, dog. Don't get mad at Myles. Get mad at the people who are terrible at adjustments, who are terrible at drafting, who don't have a clue when it comes to dead penalties and pre-snap penalties and undisciplined nature. And I don't know if I'm calling the plays right. At some point, you're going to have to hold the bureaucrats responsible for something. I know that we do that as human nature. We kind of tend to, we side with billionaire owners. We side with oligarchs. And see, this is why, G. Bush, this is why you ain't got no show on Saturdays. You can't be saying that. You're hitting too close to home. With that being said, we're going to get to it. And I'm going to throw this out there for Super Chats available. Let me throw this out here as we are talking about, as we're talking and getting to Myles Garrett. Let me throw this here. If I can find it. Myles Garrett is going to get traded. Either way. Super Chat question in today, number 1. What is your ideal trade package for Myles Garrett? I'm not moving unless it's 2 ones. Not moving. You're not going to, I'm not budging on it. I'm not moving. I need 2 ones, and that's the going cost. I got fleeced with the Deshaun Watson situation, and I want to fleece somebody else. We got fleeced. I need to find somebody to fleece. I'm sorry, bro. Y'all got to let me get my get back. I need 2 number 1s and some other stuff. You let me know in the Super Chat. It was available. When you get them, we'll read them. What is your ideal package? You can throw some players in there. You can throw some trades in there. You can throw some futures in there. You can put a player that you might want. You can put some draft picks. Whatever you want. That's the Super Chat question number 1. Let's get to some of your comments. 153 comments already. That might be I don't know, it's a record or some sort. 1,600 people in here. We appreciate you. Barbershop, if you just pulling on in, 9 to 11 every single Saturday, 9 to 11 right here on YouTube. UCSS, shout out to the UCSS people over there. Shout out to my home team over at the Barbershop. Shout out to Twitter and Facebook as well. Let's get to some of these quotes. We cooking. Let's start early. We got a new subscriber. Thank you, Best Sisters. Became a YouTube member. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Let's get to, we're going to start way back up here. All right, let's start way back up here. All right, we'll start with the first of the day. Felipe Gonzalez, what's up, my man? Tell him, G, they need to know. Also, make the trade and get Abdul Carter to replace him. Here's the crazy thing about Abdul Carter. I've been doing some research on him. He's a monster. Abdul Carter is, it hurts my heart because can you imagine Myles Garrett with Abdul Carter? I'm still dealing with it. I'm still dealing with the breakup. It's just like, you ever get to a point where you break up with somebody and you be wanting to call them back, like something will happen and you so used to being around a person so much and something happened in your day and you realize you can't call them no more. You call them maybe an accident, like what? Yeah, hello? And you're like, oh, I was, yeah, my bad. I was just something happened. You know how you ain't really quite over it? That's where I'm at with Myles Garrett. Because you say talking about Abdul Carter, and I'm like, the first thing I think is, man, Myles Garrett, Abdul Carter, man, they can't block them. This is about to be crazy. And then you'd be like, no. You don't have Myles Garrett anymore. Well, he is here, but I think he's gone. Let's get to it. Let's see. Guns N' Roses 87. What doesn't make sense to me is Myles literally just said, we are not that far away from winning. He said that 3 days after the last game. Man, let me tell you what that was. That was called being nice. I'm trying to tell you, this is the Game of Thrones. This is bureaucracy. What happens is he said that, and he might have thought he was going to get a certain example or a certain what he wanted to hear in that exit interview with Andrew Bear and Kevin Stefanski. And obviously when he met with them, what their plan was, he was not picking up and putting down. He did not care nothing about that at all. At all. He just didn't care. Out_route says, I remember after I think the Giants game, you predicted that tanking on a season like this would end up this way. I thought it was crazy back then. Now I'm ready to drink the Kool-Aid. You know what? Out_route, you know what's crazy? And I take the brunt of it because, I even lean into it a little bit. Call myself the Duke and knee jerk. And sometimes you'll know something behind the scenes, but you just can't really get into it. Like, there's really no way of getting into something like this during a season, because to be truthful, it is kind of unfair if you do know certain things to derail a season, because it could. Like, if you come out and you just want to clout chase and you just want to, guess what I found out? And you drop something, like, first of all, they're going to deny it. You have to deny it. Second of all, you put so much extra in the game where now people are going to be asked about it. People's livelihoods is on the line. So you could tell in my demeanor, like there's some games I would be literally dejected like this. Like, man, this is wild, man. I can't believe this. And the reason I was dejected like that was because I knew what the outcome was. I already knew what it was. And these things be moving and shaking behind the scenes, and you like, come on, man. This is how we moving now? You know it, and it's almost like watching a slow death, right? That a train that's coming down the tracks, and you just sitting there waiting for it to plow over you. And every loss, you start to see the likelihood of the guys that you drafted with the 3 when we was 1-31. Those guys are leaving and getting older, and now you're back to the point where you were. You're almost at ground zero. What's up, man? What's up, AC? The AC way. I appreciate you, man. What's up, man? Thanks for all 1,700 people in here. Hit that like button for me. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel wherever you are. Let's continue to run this up, man. We're gonna be. Listen, I'm here every Saturday. Barbershop is open. So you put it on your calendar. We ready to go. Let me get to these super chats, man. Let's see. Oh man, I can't. I don't know why. I don't know why they want to show me. Let me see. Let me put this up here. Here we go. Name another $600 million revenue company that underperforms the industry benchmark for 5 straight years and see no adjustments to management at the ops level. That's a very big key. That's a point. That's a fact. And I want to, and here's what I do. I try to do at the barbershop. I try to challenge people. Listen, I challenge people. Think on your own, fellas. Think about this on your own. I know a lot of what we do and what we talk about has a lot to do specifically with guys like me yelling at the top of my lungs, telling you what you should think. But please don't do that. I should say on my radio show, hey man, do your own research, come up with your own facts, and then explain to me, and let's talk about it in a format where we could go back and forth. You might be able to change my mind. You dumb if you can't change your mind on certain things and you getting all the evidence. My thing is, how is it that you're losing? Like these are unicorns. Unicorns don't get lost. Myles Garrett don't get lost. Patrick Mahomes don't get traded. The LeBron James of the world is never on those lists, ever. And name an organization that almost actively chose front office guys over players. You know how hard it is to pick Hall of Famers? You know how hard it is to even pick starters. The Browns can't even pick contributors. But they've been so bad that you're trying to, think about it, they're trying to trade. Would you trade $1 million that you had in your pocket for $1 million in lottery scratch-off tickets? No, you wouldn't. You're a millionaire right now. It's in your pocket. It's here. It's tangible. You can spend it. It's right around the corner. You can do whatever. You put it in the bank. You can see it, touch it, feel it, all that. Why would you spend $1 million that is in hand in trying to get $1 million off a scratch-off lottery ticket? For what? It's the same thing people talk about, all these picks going to be crazy. Why would I trade a bona fide Hall of Famer for picks that I don't know is going to turn out to be anything? But that's the way they sell you on things. See, at least if they sell you on the picks, they sell you on the fact that, you know what? You got $1 million in your hand. But what if you do the scratch off and you win $10 million? Exponential growth, G. Bush. 10 million or 1 million? You tell me. See, my grandfather always told me a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. Give me my money, time value. I need my money today. I'll take what's guaranteed. And I don't understand why they're just not making any moves in the front office. Please repeat on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show where AB got here. He had Njoku, Ward, Miles, Baker, Hunt, Chubb, all of their prime picks, cap space, facts. When you put it like that, when you put it in context, see, everybody's top 5 till you start mentioning people. And, hey, he's a top 5 player. Okay, well, let me mention, okay, was he better than Kareem? He better than Wilt? He better than LeBron? He better than Kobe? He better than Jordan? He's not really in the top 10. Everybody think you're doing a good job till you start naming names. These was already here. What you had all of these folks on the roster ready to go. And what you do? Fumble the bag. Who you hit on? You got Jerry Jeudy, but that was somebody else's pick. You decent at trades. You trade Mark Cooper. You traded him, got him in, used him up, got more compensation. You good at trades. But these Jed Wills, Greg Newsome, these first round picks, come on. Stop. J440, thank you so much for the super chat. Kevin loses the locker room every year. Every year there's a slight mutiny. Think about it. It was so bad with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield wouldn't even return Kevin Stefanski's or the owner's calls. Wouldn't return the calls. Odom Beckham Jr. was mad. Jadeveon Clowney said they was completely sabotaging him. Amari Cooper started popping off as soon as he left. John Johnson went rogue. Heck, you still got Juan Thornhill in-house tripping. You name me one person. Kareem Hunt. Ain't nobody had nothing nice to say about what the Cleveland Browns is doing. And it's a shame because this isn't beat Cleveland Browns up. Like, because I'm actually excited to go through the process. And I'm excited that there's some new blood in here. And I'm excited there might be a potential new quarterback or some playmakers. But I just had to give it to you first, this first segment, so y'all can know what's up. I've been seeing a lot of misinformation out here, a lot of conjecture. And I'm like, no, that's not the way it went down. The Cleveland Browns have been fumbling the bag repeatedly for multiple years before we even got to this request. And I get it. You fans, you invest a lot. Myles Garrett is the best defensive player we've ever seen. He's the best guy in our history. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I get it. But we gotta start putting our displacing our anger on who the culprit is. The culprit is the guys that's calling the shots. And we've hammered all the players. We've hammered them all. But we gotta stop to think. Why is we protecting these guys and they ain't sacked nobody yet? They ain't threw a touchdown pass. And they still selling you on 2 to 3 years. And another 2 to 3 years will be successful. Come on, man. I told people like this. When it comes to Stefanski and Andrew Berry, they do what they want, but you're going to be accountable for it. If you want to draft the D tackle at number 2, go ahead. You want to end? Go ahead. You want 4 quarterbacks in the first? Go ahead. But it better work. It better work. Sean Cassidy, thank you so much, my man, for the super chat. We appreciate you so much. You think you can send Myles and Newsome to the Lions to get some picks along with their young players, either Jameson Williams or Branch? No. I love Jameson Williams, by the way. I love their young back too. I mean, he's Jahmyr Gibbs is a monster. Could we get any of those guys? No. Greg Newsome is a decent player. He's decent. He's, average corner. He's not first round pick type guy. Myles, they really be interested in Myles Garrett. But my thing is, I need more. I need 2 1s, man. Don't give me I need 2 1s. If we're going to do that, we got to start the conversation at 2 1s. If Khalil Mack was getting all them picks, that's what I want. I want the Khalil Mack picks. If Washington was a quarterback way, why is the Browns with a better roster? And Sanders and Ward want to come to Cleveland. Keep up the great work. I appreciate you. 223 Leaking $4.99. I thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. If the Washington, see, here's the thing. You are correct. You can be a quarterback away. Here's the problem. And we got to start bringing this to the table. Kevin Stefanski has to develop people. He, for a quarterback whisperer, I've seen no crazy numbers from quarterbacks. I haven't seen them. Hey, what quarterback have you seen in the chat that Kevin Stefanski then coached the pants off and then he gets average play from below average quarterbacks? But that's not how you win in the league. You got to be up top on them boys. You got to go up top. So, for me, Kevin Stefanski has to develop and develop these guys. And so if he gets another quarterback and he can develop them, put them in that position in his offense, I like it. But if he don't, man, it's going to be a long year. Let's get to this. I want to get to something else, and we appreciate it. Let's throw this out here as well. I want to talk a little bit. We'll get to later on the show. We'll get to some more Browns, and we'll get to some draft, right? But we want to get to some Cavaliers. We want to get to some Cavaliers here. Cavaliers is the brother that don't get enough love. The Cavaliers is the team that don't get enough love over here. But let me tell you something. They just made a move. They just made a move for DeAndre Hunter. And boy, I'm going to tell you what. This thing could be devastating. Let me go ahead and throw this on here for you. I was on Sports for CLE talking about the DeAndre Hunter move, and we'll get to that right now. Oh, no, by the way, before we do that, if you ain't see DeAndre Hunter, this is his game. So if you wandering around like, dang, G. Bush, what DeAndre Hunter like? Look at this. Listen, can pull up 6'8", knock down the three. Listen, he got the ability to come off the screen, athletic, rise up, hit the jumper. Now you're going to turn around and look at what the Cleveland Browns is all about. The Cleveland Browns Cleveland Cavs, got an opportunity to have this guy, instead of Max Strus, being 6'4", 6'5", he's a guy that can play good defense. He's a guy that could get a bucket, 19 points a game. He gets in the lane, gets in the key. He can create. And I'm going to tell you what, this is exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers needed. We talked about this on UCSS, and they talked about how the Cavs wouldn't be able to do a lot of these different things because of the simple fact that DeAndre Hunter was a guy who may be too pricey. Cavs did not want to go in that second apron, and they were all able to get him as well as not going to the second apron. So you take a look at what they have now, and here in a second, we'll get right to Jason Lloyd. And Jason Lloyd had something to say about this, and we'll get to that right now. He talked about what it was that the Cleveland Cavs were able to do in order to get DeAndre Hunter.
Sure, mutual interest between Ben and the Cavs.
Yeah.
The Cavs have had their eye on him. They've been connected to him for years. And I think in a low-pressure role where they don't ask a lot of him, they can minimize his weaknesses and maximize his strengths. I think you make him a 4 or 5, a non-shooting big in this. He's not a guard anymore, and he's not on this team. He's a guy who's
Back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about the Cavs.
Hey, what's up, Dave? This is Taylor. I just wanted to speak on today's trade with the Cavaliers and give my opinion in that I don't like it. We didn't necessarily need to make this trade. The Cavs have a winning culture. And like was mentioned before, the guys seem to enjoy playing with each other and like being around one another. And we gave up 2 quality players just for one player who has a history of being injured. Now, the 2 players we gave up, especially Caris LeVert, he's a 6th man. He leads the second unit, and he could also play as a starter. Both of them were necessary. So I don't like the trade. It feels forced to me, but it is what it is. Go Cavs.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. G. Bush, I like the trade a lot. I give Kobe Altman a lot of credit. The easiest thing to do would be to sit there and say, you know, we've won 41 games. We're on pace. It's now, playoff basketball is different. Kobe Altman explained that. And I think what Kobe Altman is telling the guys in the locker room is, we believe in you. We think you have a legitimate chance of winning an NBA championship this year. That's what, if I'm in the locker room, that's what this trade says to me if I'm one of those players.
I love the move, and I'm going to give Kobe Altman credit because I used to be tough on him last year. You know, we pushed for J.B. Bickerstaff because I felt like there was another level that this team could get to. He moved on from J.B. Bickerstaff, but he kept the core intact. Darius Garland played terrible last year. Jared Allen in the playoffs was a no-go, missing in action. People questioned his toughness. You looked at Evan Mobley and people thought, well, is Evan Mobley ever going to be this unicorn? How is he going to develop his outside shot, his aggressiveness? Is he going to be able to handle the basketball? And can you win with 2 small guards in the backcourt? And all they did is come out and dominate and come out with the best record in the league to a historical start. But like you said, it could have been the easiest thing in the world to sit pat and just, rest on your laurels and rest on the fact that your record is what it is. I think they saw them up close and personal between the 2 losses to the Hawks, the loss to Oklahoma City Thunder, and as well as the first 2 losses to the Boston Celtics. You know what they saw. And the Rockets, by the way. Sengun was very aggressive, and he dominated with all those offensive rebounds. But when you take a look at those teams that they lost to, the thing is glaring. The Cavaliers are too small in the backcourt. You have Max Strus at 6'4", 6'5", guard Jason Tatum, some of these longer athletic guys. That wasn't going to get it done. And on top of that, you take a look at the length that these guys had in the front court. When you play in the Boston Celtics and you got Derek White, who's 6'6", you got Drew Holiday's a 6'4" guard, but he's built like a football player. And of course, you got Brown and Tatum. You're dealing with elite athleticism, elite size, and the Cavs were coming up short. How many times did you see on the switches where you would see, where you would see some of the bigs like Porzingis switched on Sam Merrill, switched on Max Strus, switched on some of those guys. George Niang, and here's the thing. I'll say this too before we get to any other stuff. I want to thank Caris LeVert and I want to thank George Niang for the contributions. I know it had to be gut-wrenching to be on the team, and you're thinking about the postseason. You're an integral part. Those guys are two great guys, two great locker room dudes, and I love the fact that those guys brought that sort of culture. Caris LeVert, 6-man Swiss Army knife coming off the bench. He's an Ohio guy from Columbus. And I take a look at George Niang. George Niang was shooting the ball well. George Niang, the last couple of games, was shooting it very well. But matchup size, with all that being said, I'd make this trade 10 out of 10 times. It gives them more versatility. Hunter is 6'8". He's going to be able to guard some of those wings. He's averaging 19 points a game. And now you look at a lineup where you got 3 to 4 guys. Darius Garland averaging above 20. Donovan Mitchell giving you 20. Hunter is close to 20. And Evan Mobley and then Twin Towers down there now with Mobley and Allen. Listen, it's a formidable front court. It's a formidable starting 5. And on top of that, you still got Dean Wade coming off the bench at almost 6'9", 6'10", who's a great defender, plus-minus defender, can shoot the 3. You still got Okoro, who's a defender on a perimeter. And, of course, you still get guys that are going to come off the bench like Sam Merrill that can knock jumpers down. And you put Hunter back with Ty Jerome, who both won a championship at the University of Virginia. You got a nice bench. You got an 8 to 9 deep. And like I said, you can continue to get deeper because now you're under the luxury tax.
Yep.
You could get up to 2 more guys to buy on the buyout market. Ben Simmons, or Bruce Brown, or Bogdanovich, Mo Bamba, names that are out there. So it's going to be a very interesting time by the All-Star break. I love the move, and I think a lot of people in Cleveland can't wait till Monday to see. Probably he'll make his debut, but much improved roster. Looking forward to it, and I'm so excited to see what the Cavs going to do. Listen, I told people, stop playing with your boy G. Bush. Who said G. Bush can't talk basketball? I almost forgot I was that nice. That was courtesy of Sports for CLE. I'm on there every Friday. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you go check Sports for CLE. You subscribe to the YouTube channel. Everybody over there, we've been rocking and rolling for a long period of time. But listen, I told you, look at this lineup. Come on now. Look at this lineup. Listen, let me take this ticker off. Stop. Let me see this. Look at that lineup. You got Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter at 6'8". Mind you, you still have Dean Wade at 6'10", 6'9", can still shoot coming off the bench. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, everybody wanted to keep that Lauri Markkanen lineup. Everybody wanted that Lauri Markkanen. Now, I'm not saying DeAndre Hunter is the same person as Lauri Markkanen, but everybody loved that big front court. What you talking about? This is the biggest front court. The Celtics, this looks great. The Cavs lost to the Celtics the other night, and they realized something. We're gonna have to upgrade this. And I give Kobe Altman all the credit in the world. He could have sat back and chilled. Wasn't no chill in his bones. He went and got a guy that's going to make a difference, a guy that's going to hit buckets, a guy that's going to get you what you want to get. Speaking of, let me go ahead and get to this. I'll tell you this immediately. What's the name, Matt? Let's get to this. You throw it out there. Did the Cavs land a missing piece? I think this might be the missing piece. Before, I was kind of like, y'all came out, y'all got a good start. It was a good start, a historic start. But them games against the Hawks, size and length got them. The games against the Oklahoma City Thunder, they lost physicality. games against the Boston Celtics, size, right? And the Cavs, they got all that covered. They covered it in one site. Let's take a look at this. DeAndre Hunter just happens to be having one of the best years of his life. Right now, 37 games. The problem with DeAndre Hunter, the downside to Hunter is the fact that he misses a lot of times. As you can see, he hasn't played, he's only played over 60 games twice in his career. Came in the league through 2019 and 2020. He played 63 games. And the next year played 23, 53, 67, 57. This year played 37 games, right? He's giving you 19 points, right? Giving you 46% from the field. The thing that you like the most, right now he's shooting 39, almost 40% from three-point line. That's exactly what you need. Now, as a rebounder, I would think that he would be a better rebounder for his size. 3.94 rebounds isn't really that great. He's not a playmaker. He's averaging about an assist and a half. He's not really a great playmaker. And this year, if you look at it, he's a defender who has the tools to be a great defender. When you look at him coming out of Virginia, he was a lottery pick because he was a dominant defender. Now, the hope for the Cleveland Cavaliers is that you get a guy like this. He starts his game. He gets around the guys like Donovan Mitchell and everybody. He's able to put it together, and he's able to go and get into a role, and he's going to embrace playing defense at a high level because he's on a winning team. You go from the Hawks to the Cavs. Come on now. You go from the Hawks to the Cavs. You ready to go. You are ready to go. Let me get this out of here. Let me do this. I'm going to throw this question out right now as we get closer. Super chat question number 2. What are your thoughts on DeAndre Hunter trade? Give me a grade. Give me a grade on the trade and why. Give me an A, B, C minus, A plus, whatever the case may be. But make sure you let me know why. And then, of course, is this the thing that's going to put the Cavs over the top to play and beat the Celtics to get to the finals? Super chat question number 2. What are your thoughts on DeAndre Hunter, the trade, the move? How do you like it? So you guys can opine on that. I will get to your super chats, and we'll do that throughout the show. Let's get to this. You probably caught a little snafu right there. This leads me to one thing. I kind of mixed my videos up, but we'll come back and do it again. We'll make sure we get it right this time. So, what the Cavs, because they were able to get under the luxury tax, or the second apron. And so now they can afford 2 specific buyout players. They can get 2 buyout players. And let's talk about, right now, for me, you get DeAndre Hunter. You get DeAndre Hunter in this trade. It makes other people viable. I've already got what I need as a starter. Now you move everybody back. You got Dean Wayne coming off the bench. You got Max Strus coming off the bench. You still have Isaac Okoro coming off the bench, right? And you got Ty Jerome coming off the bench, who has a relationship, one of the best friends with DeAndre Hunter. The great part about Hunter is, by all stretches of imagination, by all accounts, he's one of the best locker room guys in the business as well. Tremendous guy. So you still got the shooting in the point guard and some of the things that you need coming off the bench as well. Sam Merrill's still on your bench, could come out and knock down some shots if you need some instant offense. So since you got this, and since you do have a guy like DeAndre Hunter, what this gives you a great opportunity to do is you got an opportunity to really, really upgrade what you're doing. You got an opportunity to go out after some buyout guys. And I mentioned him earlier. Ben Simmons is a name. We're going to talk about this on the flip side. Ben Simmons is a name that really, truly intrigues me. This is Jason Lloyd talking about Ben Simmons and the Cavs and what we possibly do to land Ben Simmons.
Rolls to the rim. He's a good passer, really good passer at that spot on a pick and roll. He can defend. And historically, realistically, buyout guys don't play a very large role.
Right.
They just don't. There's a reason, like they don't have any
Yeah,
trade
there's
value.
a reason they're available.
Yeah, there's a reason they don't have any trade value. Kevin Love helped Miami a couple years ago as a buyout guy. Everyone was all excited when Darren Williams came here back in the day as a buyout guy. He didn't really hold much of a role. But, if it's a very specific need that you need to fill for short bursts, short minutes, whatever, he's a great versatile option to throw in there. I don't know where his interests lie. If he wants to come to a place where he's going to have no pressure, where he's wanted, because he's wanted here, I've talked about this before. He doesn't have the best reputation around the league.
I worry about that.
And I'll go back to, I think I talked about this on the show before, when the Cavs traded for JR and they shipped Dion out and they brought JR in. I was talking to somebody at the Cavs who said, it's okay to have one shithead on the roster, but you can't have two.
That's interesting.
And
don't give them someone to commiserate with.
Yeah. So, and I think that right now where their culture is, where their locker room is, they don't have any shitheads in the locker room now.
At all.
It's a really good locker room.
And you'd like.
That was Jason Lloyd, courtesy of UCSS. And I caught some pushback on this one a little bit. And this is a story I was interested in getting to. Now, you throw Ben Simmons' name out there, and you know what about Ben Simmons, right? You throw Ben Simmons' name out there, and all of a sudden, you hear people, come on, man. G. Bush, Ben Simmons be ruining places. G. Bush, Ben Simmons, man, he can't shoot. He can't do none of that, bro. Like, you seen what he did in Brooklyn. You seen what he did in Philadelphia. This dude is not a guy that you can count on. You can't count on him to score, especially in crunch time in the playoffs. I get it. I understand. I get it. But sometimes it ain't about what you've seen in the past. It's about what you project to the future. Ben Simmons don't got to come in here and do nothing that you think that he should have to do. Scoring, he don't have to do none of that. All he got to do is play to his strengths. See, when you got a team, when you get a DeAndre Hunter, right, you've already filled a gap. You've already filled it and filled a void that you had in your starting lineup. Your starting lineup is completely whole now. Now what you want to do in terms of bench guys and role guys, you want specialists that'll come off your bench. Ben Simmons is a specialist that can come off the bench and play 5-man for you in your small depth lineups. But he can be a 5-man, but ISO on a center or a 4. 6'10", still got good athleticism. He's not as a leader as he used to be. Can run the break, ball handle, still a tremendous passer. Can you imagine? And more than, and the most important is he gives you added length and athleticism when it comes to contesting shots when you need it against Jaylen Brown and Tatum or SGA or Williams in OKC. You need guys like this. And the great part about it is you're not asking him to do nothing. He's a buyout candidate. I think he met with the Cavs on Friday. The Clippers are also in contention for him. And he wants to play for a winner. I get people, man, you don't want to bring anything to mess up the staff. You don't want to bring anybody that's going to mess up the chemistry that you got right now. You asking him to come in and be Ben Simmons. He ain't got to shoot. He ain't got to score. I mean, he could facilitate. He can run the break. He can dribble. He can be a mismatch. And you're going to use him as a Swiss Army knife and use him and play to his strength. We're not asking Sam Merrill in the playoff to be a creator. We're asking him to be a knockdown shooter. We're not asking Dean Wade to come in here and be some sort of a monster post-up player. We're asking Dean Wade to play good defense and to knock down threes. We're asking Isaac Okoro to play a solid defense, bulldog defense on 1s, 2s, and 3s, and hit an open corner 3 every once in a while. We want Ty Jerome to come in and be instant offense, run the break, be a heady type guy, be a dude that's going to put you in positions to continue to move the basketball, and you're not going to lose too much in terms of his shooting ability from Darius Garland, and he has a bigger frame. That's all we're looking to do. We're not asking these dudes to do too much more. And Ben Simmons is a guy who can do it at a high level, a very high level. We're gonna get to your comments. Let's get to some of these comments as well. And I want to throw this question out to you guys as well. Make sure you guys can get it, because I this one is more intriguing than I want to see what you guys feel about Ben Simmons. Right here, super chat question number 3: Are you interested in Ben Simmons? Why or why not? Right now, reports are he's interested in the Clippers. He's interested in the Cavs. I think he visited the Cavs on Friday. Are you interested in Ben Simmons? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm very interested. You get an opportunity to get a 6'8", or 6'10" Ben Simmons that can still handle the ball and facilitate. Come on now. It's a no-brainer. I know somebody in the chat hating. Let's get to the chat. I know. Let's get to them. We got some super chats coming up. We got a lot of live comments that we want to throw out here as well. What's the trade? Here we go. We got some stuff. First of all, I got a super chat to get to before we do that. We'll make sure we get our peoples in. Let me get that Ben Simmons thing off here. Let me get my overlays together. I want to thank, by the way, 2,500 people in here all across the ether. We got about another hour to go. Make sure you spread this. Make sure you spread this. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you let people know the barbershop back up and rolling. And his video too. G. Bush got the multimedia going. This got to be better than radio, right? Come on now. Let's get it. Let me get to this. Here we go. Get to some of your comments. Do a couple of these. My man Sapper Daddy. Shout out to you. Been a while, G. Bush. Well, we've officially hit rock bottom. As a Browns franchise, the Cavs are up, and hopefully we can come out of the East, and hopefully the Guardians give us some magic this year. Sapper Daddy, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you. And, I'm a firm believer in giving the energy to the teams that give me the energy. This year was a miserable year for me, for the Cleveland Browns. It was taking a toll on my mental health. I didn't want to cover them. I didn't want to do no videos. And I didn't want to do videos, and we were doing content, and think about it. You're doing UCSS, you're doing a Barbershop radio show, you're doing Ultimate Browns, you're doing Browns Unlocked for the Bleacher Report app. I was doing all these things all year, and I had no enjoyment out of it, because every single Sunday, it was just nasty work. It was nasty. We were supposed to be over this. And so I'm in for giving the energy to the teams that give me the energy. Love the Guardians, love what they did, love Stephen Vogt. They still need to spend some money. Y'all need to stop being so dirty. Y'all cheap, bro. Y'all need to quit, man. Nice experience, though. Great experience. Shout out to the people in the market. But y'all need to spend some money on these bats. Ask the Dodgers for some good gracious. I was laughing and joking the other day. This is a little side. Do you know these Dodgers got 5? I was talking to Bull. I saw the Bull and Jay Crawford. They say G. Bush. G. Bush, you know that the Dodgers got 5 number 1s. I thought he was talking about draft picks. You only talk about 1s and 2s when it comes to draft pick. They're like, nah, bro, their rotation. They got 5 number 1s. And Shohei's pitching this year. That guy that they got from Japan, that the international dude, he immediately, listen, it's crazy. The Dodgers it's a cheat code. Sapper Daddy, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for the super chat. Lastly, AB will go down as the best GM of all time by taking a young quarterback coming team and completely fumble every key player for 4 years, not starting a rebuild once again. You called it weeks ago. Yeah, it doesn't make me feel good when I say I told you, because it don't do nothing for us. Andrew Berry, I said this, and we'll talk about the kind of transition into the quarterback play. I believe with the quarterback play, the only way that the Cleveland Browns can literally sell some sort of hope is the fact that they have to have a quarterback to sell that level of hope. They have to. Because let me just give you this little thought process in a scenario. Even if the Cleveland Browns you say they need to trade down. Even if they do trade down and do get Abdul Carter, And then they get a quarterback in, like, I don't know, Will Howard, Curtis Rourke, Dylan Gabriel, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, whoever you like there. One of those second-tier quarterbacks in a bad class that you guys tell me. There's no way you can really save your job like that. I mean, you had Myles Garrett and you went 3-14. If you draft Carter, I mean, is he better than Myles Garrett? No. Like, if he has the greatest season known to man, he's still not going to make the impact that Myles Garrett is. So you just swap them out. How are they going to save their job? Think about where you heard it here first. Because this is a thinking man's game. A lot of people don't never take into consideration the political nature of the things that's going on. And when I say political, please don't faint and pass out. I'm not going to talk about tariffs. I'm just talking about the political nature of how you can get people behind you. The Browns aren't going to probably be good next year. Nobody wants to see a old washed up quarterback win 6 games. No one wants to see that. Chances are Myles Garrett, your best defensive player, is not going to be there. And Deshaun Watson, who the fan base, is not too fond of, will be on this roster, and people will still continue to talk about Deshaun Watson as long as there's no other quarterback of consequence. They will continue to talk about how bad of a deal it is and how he tore his Achilles heel and how he has so much cap space, and you'll hear it over and over and over and over again. Then they'll say Myles Garrett and talk about that over and over. But you know how you can skate around that? You can do this. You give people hope. You see, you could give somebody hope by drafting a quarterback and actually hitting on one. And let me get this right. When you hit on one, it don't mean that you're going to go to the playoffs. If you hit on one, it don't mean necessarily he's going to be like an all-pro. It does not mean you're going to win 10 games. When you hit on a quarterback, everybody knows. Like, okay, Denver, yeah, they hit on the quarterback. Drake May in New England, yeah, they drafted first, but it looked like they hit on the quarterback. You see what I'm saying? Jaden Daniels, they hit on the quarterback. See, if you draft a quarterback, he give you, let's see what he give you. He give you 5-6 wins, but he beat the Bengals in dramatic fashion. But he take the Ravens to overtime. He brings his team back against the Kansas City Chiefs in a regular season game. And he looks like he has a good completion rating. He looks like some of the throws, you're like, wow. When you get to that level, that means you've hit on the quarterback, and we all know it. You can sell that to a fan base. It can save your job because now you have a momentum. You're going into the second year saying, this is the second year in Stefanski's offense. Look at the great things he did. He's completing 75% of his passes under center and play action. Very accurate in the red zone. Limited turnovers. He only turned the ball over 8 times last year. When you got those things and you still only won 5 games, for us, that's a win. For the fans, that's a win. For your organization, that's a win. But if you get a defensive tackle, he had 5 sacks, which is pretty good for that, and that's it, and you win 4 or 5 games, you're going to get fired. The only way that saves your job and with a bad team is finding out that you got a quarterback and they're going to give you an opportunity to continue to coach said quarterback. That's it. You heard it here first. So when you hear people say they need to get Shadeur Sanders, Cam Ward, they need to draft one of them two because it'll give them some time. Abdul Carter gives nobody no time. And maybe they got better morals than me. Maybe they're thinking about the well-being of the Cleveland Browns, but I'm thinking about how I'm going to save my job and keep my kids in Cleveland school systems. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my mortgage, and then that's keep my job. I don't feel like moving right now. Sapper Daddy, we appreciate you to super chat. On the terms of the trade for the Cavaliers, B+ on the trade. The only reason is because you addressed the length on the wing, who can score. Just got to see how he gels with the offense and develop chemistry in the starting 5. That's the thing. I'm glad they did it a little bit earlier. Now you got the rest of the season to kind of gel, figure out where guys are, and they've been moving the ball so well and ball and man so well. You kind of like, ooh, I hope this gets figured out quicker than later. I need him to be here over the All-Star break, working in the gym with my man, Kenny Atkinson. I need him to be working with Kenny Atkinson. I need him to get him involved, and it's going to be interesting. See, this is why Project Stockpile. Thank you for subscribing to it. Thank you, Kobe Altman, for subscribing to Project Stockpile. Project Stockpile, you got a year-long subscription. You went out and got DeAndre Hunter. You're thinking about getting Ben Simmons. Look how fun it is to watch and cover a team that wants to get better at all costs. Think about that. Now, the rest of the season, we're going to be watching to see what it is that the Cavs are going to do. We're going to be able to watch and see how's it going to work in that starting lineup. What is Darius Garland going to do? Darius Garland been playing with some swag these last couple of days. Darius Garland been cooking. That half-court shot, he out here pointing at people. I'm like, man, what is this? He blowing kisses to the bench. I'm like, dang, bro, you're going to get the technical. And Donovan Mitchell, stop running on the court with clothes on. You got a whole outfit on. In these dad hats, these dad trucker hats, bro. You be, my goodness, bro. You need to stop that. But Darius Garland been out here like a silent R&B thug. His dreads is longer. He looked like he got the same beard facial hair as me. I got the worst facial hair in the world. It's bad. Don't ever let me get a beard. You guys are dead out there. You're done. Killing everything, moving. I'm the coldest in the streets with a beard. William Wise, my man, day one. Simmons would almost be a perfect fit. Go for it. Let's get that. Listen, the Ben Simmons move. Let's get to the regular chat. Let's get to the regular chats. Let's get to the regular chats. I want to get. Man, there's a lot of comments in here. You guys is killing it. John Lindell. Gee, how much do you agree or disagree with Jason Lloyd's take that the front office doesn't really care until the dome? So that's a very good question. Now, I do think that there is two things that are working, two plans working on two different tracks. And on one track, it's the stadium. Now, to me, the more pressing thing for them is to figure out how they get the political landscape to change, which they have done. They're pretty much gonna get that, due to their political maneuvering. They're gonna get that done. I mean, his brother was a former governor. The governor of Ohio has already said that they're gonna put a crazy tax on gambling, which is pretty much going to pay for some of these casinos, or not casinos, but some of these stadiums. Now, here's the thing. That's going on one track, right? On the other track is being competitive and winning games. Here's the thing. I don't believe that when you talk about it, that the Cleveland Browns only want to be profitable when the dome comes. That works. That sounds good. But the reality of the situation is you need to build towards that. Like, there isn't no all of a sudden the dome is here, we're good. That's not what it is. For you to be good when the dome opens, you need to have pieces and parts already ready to go. And guess what? If you get a quarterback today, you're going to pay dividends tomorrow, next week, all the weeks. If you get the quarterback now, I don't know very many businessmen that say, I don't want to win no money. If he was just worried about the domes, he would keep ticket prices the same right now. But the ticket prices going to raise every year. So they're not punting on no money. Hey, billionaires never punt on no money. They're going to listen, we can get a guy in here and he could be a quarterback. We want all the money. So to do that, you got to be aggressive in the now. You have to, and plus, John, you got teams that we talked about, the Guardians as well as the Cavaliers. Those teams are competing for your dollars. Listen, we live in an inflation area right now where when I went to the store, I had to take the picture. I said, dog, eggs is $12? Somebody's like, yeah, dog, G. Bush, that's for 24. You was looking at 20. I said 24 eggs cost me $12. I'm like, this is wild. Bro, eggs was like $1.99. Used to be, I was in college. I'm like, man, let me go get me a carton of eggs. At least I can have me something to eat. And one of them, like, them little packages of salami, that'd be $1. Man, with a 99-cent bag, a loaf of bread, we was cooking. $12? We live in an inflation era. So what if you gonna get season tickets to somewhere, where you gonna do it at? You gonna spend your money with the Guardians? You want to spend your money with the Cavs or the Browns? And in the meantime, you're looking at the Cavs. Cavs, the best team in the league. They just made 2 more trades. They're looking to try to get some more trades. They ain't even won nothing yet. Can you imagine if the Cavs they win an NBA championship? I know everybody love the Browns. I know y'all love the Browns. I love the Browns. It's a football state. But some of these guys, you don't understand. There's a missing generation of people. There's a whole missing generation of people that ain't like my dad, that ain't like your dad, that's not like your granddad or your uncles or any of that. Some kids grow up either Steelers fans or just listen to music. Steelers fans or play D&D. Steelers fans are just like play video games. You know how hard it is to be a Browns fan? Y'all never win. The colors is low-key trash. And the weather is cold, and I don't even want to be out there when they playing. They don't got a quarterback or the face of anything. So that puts you at a position, a situation where younger generations don't know anything about it. And look, we are in an aging population. We're in a very aging population. The baby boomers are getting older. Our society is moving along, and every single year you got to cultivate and you got to prove why consumers should spend dollars with you every year. So that sound good. Yeah, we wait for the dome. Yeah, you're going to have some stuff in place before the dome. Look, hey, listen, $6.99 for a medium bag of Lay's. Hey, talk that inflation. Talk that. Hey, put that in here. I seen some orange juice. Orange juice, $11.99. I said, we ain't drinking orange juice in my crib. Nothing. We going back to the old school. Listen, babe. Hey, man, drink that orange juice slow. You're in there gulping. Don't you? You're doing too much on that orange juice. You better slow it. Pump your brakes. Oh, man. What's up, JT? Get some chickens in the coop. I was told the reason them chickens so high is they had to incinerate like 100 million chickens or something because of the bird flu. I don't know. I'm like, listen, I woke up. Usually what be happening is I don't do the grocery shopping. So I just, my wife usually do it, and I wake up and I love the fact there'll be food in there. And then she been doing this now, where she just be, Walmart to deliver it to you. I'm like, man, I've been out the loop, but it just so happened I happened to be out, and I was like, man, I got to pick up a few things. So we was out together, and I was at this grocery store, and I was just like, bro, why is everything listen, this seemed like a $5 and above store. You know how you got $1.99 and below, like everything is $1, the Dollar Tree, like 99 and below. This was $5.99 and above. Everything in there was $5.99. Candy bars $5.99, just one. One. Ice $5.99. Eggs, it was wild. I'm like, am I tripping? Have I been the only person that's been? And somebody was like, yeah, you was out of touch doing all them damn shows. He's like, bro, it's been like that. Come on, G. Let me see what y'all talk about in here. Somebody said something about Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has failed in those roles. We don't need him to play here. Come on, Joe. Come on. Have a heart. Joe, you don't think he can do nothing here? Evan Mobley didn't got a game here. Evan Mobley, the unicorn now under Kenny Atkinson. I'm going to believe in Kenny Atkinson making everybody good until he proves me otherwise. Let's see. Let me see. Carnival juice. Hey, he said 11 night. I was at Giant Eagle, bro. For OJ, where was you shopping at? I was at Giant Eagle, fam. I was listen. 20 ounce pops. 20 ounce pops is 2 for $5. That's wild, Brian. That's wild. James says Tang in the grocery outlet. Oh man. Let's see. Let's get a couple more here, man. 50 back in the day, Joe Mannix. 50 wings was $9.99. I remember y'all doing, and by the way, here in a couple of minutes, we'll get to some of your Super Bowl stuff. I want to know what you guys is working with in terms of your Super Bowl Sunday. We should mix it with who you got winning Super Bowl Sunday. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit too. But back in the day, you were correct, my man. 50 wings, you can go to Ponderosa and order the 50 wings for $9.99, and they got it done every New Year's. Come on. Every New Year's. Let's see. Everything at the Dollar Tree is $1.25 now. I was salty at that too a little bit. That and the fact that you talk about, remember the dollar menu at Wendy's used to hold it down? The dollar menu at Wendy's, the chili, the junior bacon cheeseburger, the junior bacon cheeseburger deluxe, the baked potato, sour cream and chives, the frosty, small fry, and you got a whole 5-piece nugget, not the 4-piece nugget, 5 pieces. I mean, bro, you go in there and you go to Wendy's and get busy. Man, that was the original dollar menu. Shout out to them. The original dollar menu, loved it, man. Loved it. Let's get to Ben Simmons. I'm gonna read this one here. Myles for Stafford in the first round pick next year, which will be a top 10. Let's go. Matt Stafford, I think it's 37, 39. Somebody tell me how old Matt Stafford is. Matt Stafford is old. Popeye's got 12 wings for $10. R.I.P. Ponderosa, man. Everything, man. I was watching. If you watch G. Bush, I've been a person that's been into, like, I'm in abandoned buildings and I go down this nostalgic route. And so I was looking at random restaurants that's no longer here. And it just made me sad. Like, I didn't know Thursdays and Fridays was out of here. Like, I didn't know. Like, Ruby Tuesdays, gone. Shout out to Arthur's Treachers. There's like one left. Even like old school stuff like Orange Julius, Baskin Robbins, man. I'm into that stuff, man. That nostalgic stuff be really sending me back, man. I'm like, man, remember Captain D's? Like, this is crazy. Like, there's so many different chains that I just didn't know, like, don't exist no more. COVID happened and just wiped everybody. It got rid of my whole childhood. Everything was gone. Like, it was like, wow. Is Ponderosa still in the Lions, man? I don't know. Yeah, Matt Stafford's 37. 37. Page 878 says, G, I had a steak eating contest with my boy when Ponderosa had all you can eat. Listen, you got the steak, you got the sirloin, then you got the buffet. Then you got the buffet on top of that, right? So a junior bacon cheeseburger is $3.39 now? Yo. This is crazy. This is wild. Hurts my soul. Let's get to this. Let me get back into swing things. We got about a half hour to go. If you guys want to get in, we've been talking about all things Cleveland. We've been talking about the Browns. We got to the Myles Garrett saga. I was breaking that down. If you missed it, go back and check that out. You can rewind that. We've been talking about the Cavs DeAndre Hunter move. How do you like that move? Also, we've been talking about Ben Simmons as well. And we're going to continue to talk about some of those. So if you got a super chat, you can throw those in. We've been doing regular chats as well. And we're going to get to this. Shadeur Sanders. Let me tell you this. Shadeur Sanders, man. This is going to be very interesting. Shadeur Sanders' name is starting to get that buzz. Shadeur is getting the buzz right now. And this is from, and I take this with a grain of salt. Like, nobody has told me specifically Shadeur Sanders is the guy that, and anybody who tells you that is crazy. But Nathan Zegura, who's on Cleveland Browns Daily, has been talking about Shadeur Sanders. And obviously Nathan is the one of the on the play team with the Browns. And I noticed, he was arguing kind of hard. There was a conversation he was having. And somebody was like, Shadeur ain't the guy. Shadeur ain't the guy. I don't like none of these quarterbacks. He actually was talking to Chris Rose. Chris Rose was like, man, that he does not have Deion's legs. I don't think he's mobile. Chris has said that on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But guess what? Your boy Nathan Zegura was like, no. Listen, I didn't see about 5-6 of his game. He could do this. He could throw the run. He could do all this stuff. I think he's the most quarterback ready. He's the most ready guy available in the draft in terms of quarterbacks. He was going in. He was really putting the Captain Kirk cape on. I said, dang, bro, he really talking. He talking real. He got the cape on for Shadeur Sanders right now. And I'm looking at it. Now, Shadeur Sanders, to me, as I look around, I'm starting to see, people meeting with Shadeur. He come off more mature. And slowly but surely, Coach Prime then stepped away a little bit. Coach Prime then stepped away. What started to happen, like I told you, is when you got a chance to be the number 2 overall pick or the number 1 overall pick, all of that stuff about me going to another spot because I don't like, that be out the window. That's out the window. And let me throw this out to you guys before we even get to our next video. Let's get to this question because I'm interested in seeing. This is going to be the biggest offseason for the Cleveland Browns. Don't let you tell them it's 2026 and 2027 because if Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski don't get it right this year, they'll be gone. So they'll be out of here. They won't see tomorrow. Right now, the Cleveland Browns, we can't be sitting here talking about how bad the quarterbacks are, how terrible Jameis Winston is, how horrible DTR is. Deshaun Watson was this, that, and the third. Well, listen, you got the number 2 pick, people. You got multiple picks. I don't care if you got to pick 4 quarterbacks in this draft. Get it done. So I'm going to throw this out to you. I want to see what y'all feel about Shadeur Sanders. Number 4. Super chat is available. Hit me up. We'll talk about it. Super chat question number 4 is Shadeur Sanders worth the 2nd overall pick? Why or why not? We're just telling you. We just ask you. I ain't saying if he's good or not. I'm just asking you. Is Shadeur Sanders worth the 2nd overall pick or not? Just marinate on that as we get to our video. And this is courtesy of Sports from CLE. This is me. And Dave talking about Shadeur Sanders. You heard from Coach Prime. Coach Prime says he's the best quarterback that's ready to go right now. And here's why.
Of Colorado, also the dad of Shadeur Sanders was on ESPN's First Take today talking about which quarterback in this draft he thinks is the most ready to be successful in the NFL.
If Shadeur had started every game in high school,
Right.
every game in college except one, and he's prepared for this next level and this journey that he's about to go. And I think he's the most equipped. He's had, Cam, the 7 different offensive coordinators.
Yes, sir.
And, a line that was always criticized and scrutinized, but he still stood and delivered. I think he's the best one for the job for any city, and he's the most equipped. Oftentimes, we draft these quarterbacks that been on these elite teams. Now they get in a situation where it's not as conducive to their success.
For sure.
And they choke. He's always been up under criticism. He's always been scrutinized. He's never had the best of, but he's made the best of. So I think he's the most
That
qualified.
last name is what draws the criticism.
That last name is just like Sharp and Smith, Molly, and Cam. You know, our names just make people have you got to have an opinion. When they say something about us, there's always an opinion.
G. Bush, Deion also said, whomever takes him, he'll leave it in God's hands, is how he put it. So it doesn't sound like he's stepping in, whether it goes 1, 2, or 3. That was before that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, look, I've always said this, and I look at it in terms of how human nature is. It's very difficult. My dad always told me, hey man, go with the girl that like you, not who you like. Man, and I married the woman who likes me. Like, your relationship gonna be pretty good if she like you, bro. That's a nice start off at a nice base level. So if somebody reaches out to Shadeur and say, listen, we like you enough that we want to take you number 2 overall, no matter what city it's in, you then put yourself in a position where it's like, hey man, that's hard to turn down, man. Somebody's coming to you. You spent time with them. You've been out to eat with them. You practiced and you've worked out in front of them. They've had you on the whiteboard. They've had you, explaining yourself. They vetted you, and they came to a conclusion that they're putting their organization on your shoulders. It's very difficult to turn that down to say, I'm not going to play here. I'm going to play somewhere else. You know why? Because listen, if you're a competitor and you're a person that really believes in that, if you're a person that really truly believes that I'm a competitor and I'm the best guy for the job, people can say what they want. If somebody comes to you and they say, listen, we're willing to embrace you and make you our franchise quarterback, you want to go somewhere where people believe in you and people have shown they're going to invest in you. And if you do that, it's hard pressed for any athlete to turn you down and say, I'm going to go to New York Giants, or I'm going to go because it's a big city, or no. Listen, I'm going to go where people like me at. And to be honest with you, if you play well, and you can control a lot of this, if you play well and you do your thing in Cleveland, you will be a god. They will trust me. Listen, Baker Mayfield got a cult following. He got one playoff win against Pittsburgh. And we got people wearing Tampa Bay Buccaneers jerseys now that live in Cleveland. Yeah. He got one little playoff win.
Yep.
And they like, listen, I'm a Bucs fan too. I watch all the 4:00 games on it. I said, this is when you get that big. I'm confused, man. But if you can get it done here, they'll love you, man.
The more I hear Shadeur Sanders talk, the more I'm intrigued by him. So let's see how that process plays out.
Yeah. You see how that go. The more you hear about Shadeur Sanders, the more you're going to be intrigued by him. Because I've set the course. I'm saying to you, I will say this, and this is the backdrop of it. Man, we don't get no rest in Cleveland, do we? Think about the last 5 to 6 years. The Cleveland Browns are the epicenter of the league for right or wrong reasons. They're the epicenter. They're smack dab in the middle of everything moving. Think about this. Go back to 2014, 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. Johnny Manziel gets drafted. Polarizing as all get out. Johnny Manziel was so poor. He was going, think about it. Him and Josh Gordon was going partying. It was flying to Vegas game weeks. He had a fake mustache on. Think about that, people. Johnny Football was going to Vegas in disguises. That's how wild it was. Fast forward a little bit, you draft Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a lightning rod. He's a lightning rod. You start to see in the Baker Mayfield, he planted the flag in the middle of the O for Ohio State. He's a gunslinger. He's from Texas. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. It's Baker Mayfield. We draft him first overall. Nobody thought we was going to draft Baker. They draft him. This guy goes out and breaks the rookie record. This dude is taking pictures with his shirt off. It's Baker Mayfield. He's polarizing as all get out. He wins the game against the Jets, and then we on that roller coaster ride. Think about it. Then ups and downs with Baker. Then during that process, we drafted at the time the biggest superstar in the game, Odell Beckham Jr., international superstar. We trade for him in Cleveland. And you got Odell Beckham, you got Jarvis Landry, who are our best friends. Played at LSU, not playing for the Browns, and you still got Baker Mayfield. That was just so volatile. It was just, I mean, every week we went through is it Odell's fault? Is it Baker's fault? What's going on? Was they moving Odell? Are they better without Odell? Are they better? Should Baker be throwing the ball to different people? They trade Odell. Baker's still here. He gets injured. That whole saga. Then it's the saga, and Baker says, I'm never playing for the Browns again. And then we go do the most controversial thing in the game. Deshaun Watson, you know what he cost. You know what he cost. You understand what I don't got to say it no more. The picks, the money, the allegations. We don't. We ain't got to get to that. So here we are now, post Deshaun Watson, and here comes Shadeur Sanders. Oh boy. I mean, when Coach Prime says it, that last name speaks for itself. Flashy, flamboyant, even the wrist sign. Get used to the wrist sign if you hear. That's the rollie, the presidential rollie when I score. He got the mannerisms. You know, he's gonna be polarizing. His dad is gonna talk on certain things. He's already known. He's already a millionaire. He got all the NIL deals. So if you're a Browns fan and you look at our lineage for the last 6 years, for better or worse, we are the epicenter of everything NFL. Now, the question I got for you is, are the Browns fans and media ready for it? Because it's going to come a time, if you do draft Shadeur Sanders, it's going to be a time where he throw for 300 yards and it's going to look crazy. And after he throw for the 300, he might do a celebration. We know how we are with celebration. Don't get all up in it. But then there's going to be some times when he plays bad, takes some sacks, and his dad says somebody wasn't blocking. And boy, are we going to start to get them booing again? Because we boo quarterbacks night and day. I've already said and thrown this out there to a lot of people. Playing football in Cleveland as a quarterback is probably, to me, one of the toughest places to play quarterback ever. And a lot of people keep saying it's New York, it's New York. No, it's not New York. And I'm going to tell you exactly why it's not New York. Because New York has had quarterbacks before. They've had franchise guys. They won Super Bowls. When you're playing for the Cleveland Browns and the beloved Cleveland Browns, and you're playing for the team that Jim Brown paid for, you're playing for the team and the Hall of Fame is right down the street. This is the birthplace of football. When you're playing for that team that has never won a Super Bowl or been to a Super Bowl and has not had a quarterback since Bernie Kosar, everybody looks at you. Everybody. And a lot of people come from other cities and think it's sweet. People come from, I've been playing in big cities before. I played in big games at Ohio State or Alabama or Texas, or I played at another city. No. They don't care nothing about. You think Indianapolis is like here? Come on, man. You think playing for the Miami Dolphins is like playing for the Browns? You think playing for the San Diego Chargers is like playing for the Browns? We're in a division where our siblings, these are our siblings. Like, these ain't like rivalries. These are your siblings. One of your siblings is a twin. That's the Baltimore Ravens. They were you at one point in time almost. They were twins. And you have a shared history. The other guys in the division, the Cincinnati Bengals, y'all got the same father, Paul Brown. They got stadiums named around him from all over the country. Cleveland Browns innovator Paul Brown here first, then goes to Cincinnati. And then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's your hated cousin. That's your hated cousin. Come over, play with all your toys, break them all up. You got to share your food with them. But they always seem to have the better looking stuff. Their parents always seem to get them the best gifts. And you get the leftovers, and the best stuff you get, they break it up. So you playing in a division where everything is looking at you. And Shadeur Sanders is going to come with the cachet already. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Let's get to it. 3,100 people in here, wherever you are. Hit that like button. We appreciate you for staying for 2 hours. Right now, ain't nobody doing this. Like right now, like we got about 15 minutes to go. But I love the fact that all my barbershop people came over here. Wherever you at, if you're a new person, thank you so much. If you're a new subscriber, if you're a new person that's watching on Twitter or Facebook, and you found my content by accident, we want to thank every single one of you 3,100 people in here today. UCSS crowd, what's up? I see you over there. Kool-Aid Mafia, we riding. Shout out to the barbershop day ones, man. We over here again. Listen, and here's the thing. I want to thank each one, 14,000 of you barbershop people. Stay on my channel, and you didn't even desubscribe, even though my content, we don't even have content like that. I want to thank you for that, but we're going to fix that. We got content coming every Saturday as well. Let's get to it. Let's go ahead and get to some of your comments with the Shadeur Sanders. I think he's gaining some steam. I think when these workouts come, you're going to start to see his name mentioned at number 2. And I think the Cleveland Browns actually like him in Kevin Stefanski's system. They can do a lot of things, but I do think that he's going to be a guy you start to hear more and more about. Let's see. Let's get to this. 2 super chats. We're going to read these as well. Rob Cunningham. Rob, shout out to you as well. Rob says, Ben or Richard Simmons, who needs him, can't put the ball in the hole. Here's what I'm going to say. I need him for 2 things. I need him for the Celtics. I need him for size. I need him for passing ability. I need him. He can handle the ball, and I'm going to explore the mismatch. Let me give you this, Rob. Let me see if y'all remember this. When the Cavs was playing, the Golden State Warriors, 2016, came back from 3-1. It was tied at 3-3. Cavs was at home, and before halftime, Dante Jones scored a bucket, got another offensive rebound, and got an one, and hit the free throw. And like right before halftime, the game was nip and tuck. And Dante Jones came off the bench. Ty Lue put him off the bench, and he made a play. And he ends up getting that one, those 5 points that put the Cavs in contention, and I think they gave him the lead, pushed the lead up a little bit on him. And little plays like that, a couple of possessions here or there. I'm not asking Ben Simmons to be Ben Simmons frontline layup. I'm that guy. I'm not asking him to do that. I'm asking him to get a key rebound. I'm asking him to get a key assist. I'm asking him to push the fast break and get somebody easy layup. I'm looking for him to contest on a jumper on Jason Tatum, and because he's 6'10", it gives a tougher look to Tatum or Brown. That's all I'm looking. See, we got what we need. See, we're in a different place in life. We're in a different place in life with the Cavs. We're not looking for guys to come in and be major contributors. We just need 1 or 2 possessions. And when it gets down to playoff basketball, and when you need a possession, when you need a rebound, when you need an assist, and you need a bucket, or you need somebody to do something, you got to have specialists. You got to have specialists. And I think Ben Simmons in the right position can be a specialist, can be one. Sapper Daddy, I think he is. This is concerning Ben Simmons. It's just that we are so thin in skill positions. We don't have the infrastructure to support him to be successful. That is, I think you talk about Shadeur Sanders. I think he is. He's just we are so thin in the skill position. I agree. Here's another guy that's is a catch-22 when we're talking about the draft. I think Travis Hunter is a catch-22. Sean King talked about this on UCSS the other day. Sean King said he's the best player in the draft. However, he's a guy that's quarterback dependent, and he's dependent on a lot of different things. For Travis Hunter to be effective, you need a quarterback to throw him the football. In order for Travis Hunter to be effective, somebody has to throw the football his direction. Now think about it. You can be one of those type dudes, and they just don't look over to Travis Hunter, or they run the football. corner is not a position where you're going to be involved in every single play. And if you can't get him involved because you don't have a quarterback, Travis Hunter loses his novelty. Travis Hunter needs to be with a place where somebody's innovative to get him the football. And with Kevin Stefanski's running pound, ground and pound type thing and play action, I'm not quite sure if they'll use him up to his capabilities. That's the only problem with him. Only problem. We got a new member, Jeffrey Cooper. Shout out to Jeffrey Cooper, who became a new member on UCSS. Thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your content. By the way, if you're into weekend content, this is the place to be. You're going to get some of the stories that you had on Friday. I think I'm the only guy doing it. We doing it right now. We try to be innovators over here. The only guy that's going to give you this weekend content, Barbershop comes 9 to 11, so you guys can wake up to some things that happened yesterday. We can look forward to some things, and we'll be continuing to do it right here on UCSS. We'll be doing it on Barbershop and Facebook and Twitter as well. So you ain't got no excuses. You can find me anywhere. We find me anywhere. Let's get to this. Let me get a couple guys. Raul Havana says calling the Browns a legitimate franchise is like saying massage therapist is safe around Deshaun Watson. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Listen, where's the Tucker? Where's the Tucker? Justin Tucker stuff? I haven't heard too much Justin Tucker stuff. Have you guys heard it all over the news or anything? Or I haven't heard too much about Justin Tucker since the first day. I'm confused. Maybe they're just doing the investigation. Has anybody heard of the investigation going down? The league opening anything? You let me know. Let me know. I'm just asking. Pay J78 says Baker left the best division for the worst and still chokes in the playoffs. He did drop a handoff. How do you drop a handoff, bro? How do you do that? I think Shadeur believes he can turn the Browns around. The question is, Grass and Bass, do you? I think every athlete thinks they can turn something around, but the question is, can you? Sanders is mobile in the pocket. I agree with that. He's not like he's a stick in the mud. All these experts say this is a bad quarterback class. The same people who said Trevor Lawrence was generation. Talk your stuff. Man, I don't know which one this is. No, I'm gonna find this clap button. There it is. Thank you, my man. Eric, same dudes generate. They had Trevor Lawrence on Perk Plus commercials because he had the long flowing Goldilocks hair with the headband. I kept generational talent. The next John Elway, Andrew Luck, move over. Trevor Lawrence is coming. What? Pause. By the way, what? Trevor Lawrence, and then they keep making excuses. To be truthful, Andrew Luck wasn't even generational. Let's keep it a buck. These dudes, by the way, the same people did nobody think Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes. But these dudes will tell you, these experts, this ain't a good draft class. This is what irks me. Think about it. You got to question people. If people say, this ain't you know what? And I had to apologize for people for this. This is how they do you in the game. You'll get to a point where you'll start to be in the industry too long. And then the industry stuff will start wearing off on you. One of the things that start wearing off on me is I stopped watching as much film as I should be watching. Why am I telling you guys that this might not be a great draft class when I got access to the all 22? If I watch the Browns all 22, why can't I watch the college? I had to say, bad job out of yourself, G. Bush. What are you doing? Make your own. Everybody can fall victim to that sort of thinking, that echo chamber thinking. I had to start getting into the lab and be like, what is these dudes talking about? Why is this guy? Why you think this guy is bad and this guy's good? And this thought process that there's no good quarterback, it's a lie, is laziness. When you start to hear people say that, especially local guys, this is why you don't got to show G. Bush. You can't keep talking about these folks. You got to see these guys at the cookout. When you start acting, when them folks start acting like that, ask them, have you seen the film? Oh, I don't think Shadeur Sanders is that great. I don't think any two of these guys are great. Did you watch the film, sir? Well, I'm not a draft expert. I just, I'm just going by why would you do that? I don't think scientists do that. In no other business do you just take what somebody else said and just go for it. What are you talking about? Watch the All-22. When I'm watching the All-22, people sitting around talking about, yeah, these guys can't throw, these guys are terrible. But yet still, they want me to lose all my games this year, lose all my games next year for Arch Manning, who they've seen play 1.5 times. It's wild. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Arch Manning has not played not one game. Not one game. Remember they said the same thing for Matt Leinart and Jake Locker? Oh, those guys coming out next year are going to be the guys. It's not that way. And by the way, if Arch Manning is that good and you don't have the number 1 pick and you have the 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 30th pick, if he is like his uncle, Peyton, then guess what? Nobody is trading him. I don't care how many picks you have. They're gonna laugh at your email, send it back with a virus attached that says kick rocks. Why would they trade a generational quarterback? And they obviously need one. But we neglect all that. We just neglect it. It's just, whatever, because we just keep saying that the better quarterback classes next year. What if you draft in 12th? What if you're drafted 15th? You think somebody's going to give up a franchise quarterback so you can move up? You deal with what's in front of you today, not about the grandiose nature of next year's draft classes. You think that's half the reason Myles Garrett and them boys don't want to play around with y'all. They want to get up out of here. No one cares about your thought process on Arch Manning. You're losing because you want Myles Garrett to hang around because you think Arch Manning is good. And he ain't played one down in Texas. It's wild to me. But we got people that would, and they're like, I know. We got people that will say that. And I'm like, look, so that's always the thing. That's how you deal with that talking point. I don't think these guys are good. All right, well, how many game tapes did you watch of them? I'm just chilling. Let's talk about people in Shadeur Sanders. No Days Off. I always loved his nickname. No Days Off. I always loved your joint. I'm really salty that I did not have that creativity when I created my screen name. Sanders did not make others around him look and play better. He did it at Jackson and Colorado. Yeah, I'll get us to Shadeur Sanders. Ain't nobody ever came from the HBCU and came directly to a Power 5 conference school and threw 4,000 yards back to back. He came with his luggage, his dad, Jimmy Horn, and Travis Hunter. That's all they had on offense. No linemen, none of that. Not only did he do that, he was up for the Heisman. Not only he looked like, come on, that's from an HBCU. That's like Division II, Division III. Come on now. He did it at a high level. Take live calls, Mel L. Here's the thing about taking live calls. So, the reality about live calls is technology kills you. So if you take live calls, you're at the mercy of somebody's internet, phone line, or whatever. 2, in our day of trolling is at an all-time high. So somebody can get on here and say anything they want, and I can't dump it. And so I could get the stream taken down, I could get my channel banned, all of that. So because I'm streaming in multiple places, I could get banned all at once because some guy wanted to say something stupid on that I can't dump. So unfortunately, if we lived in a different day, or if we were doing something else, I would definitely be able to do live calls. But under investigation, that's just not wise for me to do because it's just too easy for people to say crazy stuff. So that's why I don't take live calls. I do take live chats all the time. We do super chats. We take chats from Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and regular comments as well. Greg OH, is the talent gap between Sanders and guys like Milroe, Gabriel, Dart large enough to pass on Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, and grab a quarterback in the next round? That is what is going to be the overwhelming arching thing. It's the arching thing for this draft. What is the talent gap? Do the Cleveland Browns believe Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, who are blue chip guys, are worth passing on in order to take the quarterback? And how good is the quarterback compared to the guys you can take at pick 33? I think that, in general, is what we are looking at in terms of our calls. With that being said, we've reached the end of our 2 hours, boys and girls. But before we go, we always got to do this. We give a roll call. The barbershop is deep in the streets. We got people from multiple continents calling in, hitting us up, always showing love. So as always, as we end our shows, we always end with the roll call. Roll call, what's your name? Where you calling from? And let me know so we can shout you out. Shout out your block, where you're from, your area code, your city, all the above, letter D. And I'm going to start with mine. G. Bush, leader of the Kool-Aid Mafia, general and architect of Project Stockpile. And I always keep the Clippers with me. Canton, Ohio's in the building. 330-216 is in the building. 330-216-234-440 is in the building. As always, Canton, Akron, Cleveland, all my people in there. Where you calling from? Where you looking up at? Let me get to them. Here we go. Hold on. Favorite part of the show. Who's hating? The barbershop. Now that's original. Man, see, this is the listen. Hey, it ain't for everybody. Hey, it's original. Here's how I will say, would that be original? Here's how I will clap back at it. Here's the original. Nobody has their own t-shirts. The Kool-Aid Mafia is 1,000% original. The barbershop has a mascot, a panda. Who has a panda as a mascot? It doesn't make any sense. I created and drew it myself. There is nobody with a championship belt. That is creative as well. Let me see my champion, because I'm champion of all things. Let me get it. Yeah, this is original. Who has a championship belt? Who? Let me do this. Who has a championship belt, my sir? I'm the most original in the game. Yes, you may have heard barbershops before, but when it comes to a cityscape, the barbershop, all this in general, I'm that dude, walking Hall of Famer. Let's get to where you're from. 216 is in the building, man. Tacoma, Washington is in the building. Cell Block D, A-Town, Cincinnati. 216, Dayton is in the building. 937, stand up. Hey, Bobby G, born and raised in 216, currently living in Vegas. Shout out to Vegas out there, my man. All the people in Vegas in the cigar lounge, my man Sean King as well. Smitty, South Carolina, you know what it is. Bedford's in the building. Let's see. West Side, Cleveland, Columbus, Ohio, 317. North Royalty. What we got? San Antonio, Texas. Cleveland, 216-111 in the building. Hey, man, fan of the Kool-Aid Mafia, 440 Berea, Ohio. You know what we doing over here. And we Charlotte, Ohio, man. Charlotte, North Carolina, sorry. By the way, Cleveland Straight, Harvard Avenue, Warrensville. The land is in the building, man. And Massillon, Ohio is in the building. Shout out to the Tigers. They've been balling. They've been beating our tails for the last 3 years. But it's all love where we at. With that being said, you never know where G. Bush is going to be. Radio, television, internet. But if you want the fresh cut on sports, the barbershop is where to get it. And we're going to do it like we always do it. No matter if they trade Myles Garrett, they got the number 2 pick, they're scared to take a quarterback. It's always have a great weekend and go Browns, go Cavs, go Guardian. Peace.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture. It's lifestyle. It's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.